The Man Whore Podcast is sponsored by HotMovies.com. Try out some ethical, paid-for porn for free with none of those hidden fees or secret subscriptions when you sign up at HotMovies.com and use the promo code MANWHORE. Now let's get to the show.
Welcome to the Man Whore Podcast.
What's up, all ya cunt punters, Tokyo drifters, and Hyung hunks? This is Billy Presida, and you are listening to the Man Whore Podcast. Hey everyone, how you doing? Welcome to the Sex Positive Podcast, hosted by a comedian that is not a comedy show. This week on the pod, I've got on LA-based rapper Hyung Terrorist. Yeah. That is the name. She also performs stand-up comedy under the stage name Tokyo Cunt Punch. So this is just as colorful of an episode as the episode title and guest names would suggest. Oh boy. This is going to be an adventure for many of you. And I'm very excited to take you on that adventure in a little bit. But first, no show dates right now, people. No show dates. However, I will be announcing some tour dates in the upcoming weeks. That's exciting. It's also exciting because I am going on the road. Yeah. Little road trippy trip. I will be next month driving out to Las Vegas for the AVN Awards and Adult Entertainment Expo. And from there, I will be doing a little tour, doing stand-up all over this fine country, as well as recording podcasts with a lot of these people I've wanted to have on the show for years who just don't live here. So I'm going to be gone for probably about 5 to 10 weeks. And in that time, I'm going to need a place or two to stay here and there. This is very odd and uncomfortable to say out to thousands of strangers on the podcast. But I also believe you can't get what you don't ask for. But if you are, one, a mildly well-adjusted human being, and number two, have a spare bedroom or couch I could crash on, or even honestly like a really comfy doggy bed, that could very well do. And you would be down to host me for an evening or two as I pass through your village, please shoot me an email at manwhorepod@gmail.com. Tell me who you are and tell me where you are, and I very well might take you up on that offer, as I am currently finalizing my route. Okay, now that I got that very uncomfortable ask out of the way, I've got a treat for you. I recently wrapped up my tenure with Sophia the intern. I was very sad to see her go. Many of you yesterday hopefully heard her free bonus episode available on Patreon. She did a great job. I very much appreciate the help that she's had. She did a great job, say, with the Facebook page, especially. Way to go, Sophia. But we were really happy to hear her here on the show with her segment, Sex in the Quad, with Sophia the intern. And Sophia, we would be remiss if we allowed Sophia to depart so finally, without giving us just one more segment, one more round, one more go of it. So I am happy to present one final inundation of Sex in the Quad with Sophia the intern. Instead of talking to various members of her community at her school, she actually did her first sit-down interview. It's baby's first sit-down interview. So let's go give that a listen.
Hello everyone, it is Sophia, and today I have the pleasure of sitting down with Andy. So Andy, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Andy. Anthea Chan is my full name. I'm a researcher at Teachers College at Columbia University. About a year ago, I helped lead the Conversio Virium, also known as CV, kink group at Columbia University. I did that for 2 years. As a psych student, I did some brief research in BDSM, and BDSM is kind of my love, my favorite topic to talk about.
Perfect. So why don't you tell us a little bit about, what is CV? What do you guys do on campus, and what was your mission while you were there?
So Conversio Virium is the oldest student-led BDSM group on a university campus in the United States. I think it was founded in 1994. And it's very long. It's as old as I am. So there was a really long tradition of students sharing BDSM knowledge with each other. So when I was leading it as I was vice president, and I started off as treasurer and then became vice president. So we would bring in experts on different topics from throughout the city or from beyond. I think in the past, they've flown people in from the West Coast. People would come in and hold workshops. Every semester would start off with a basic consent workshop. And then from then on, it would be a monthly meeting. Usually there'd be an introductory rope workshop, very hands-on stuff. And yeah, rope, impact play, skill shares, sometimes show and tell. We'd bring in our toys. We've talked about DIY kink toys and, things for what to do on a budget. If you don't want to go to a shop and buy something, what can you use at home? And that sort of thing. So it was a lot of education in that regard, and also discussion. When I was at CV, we were invited to the annual Yes Fest at Columbia University, which is a festival all about consent. And they'd have it in the student center, and they would have different student groups or different people from around the university come in and do different workshops and different discussions. So Conversio Virium was invited, and we did come up with this little workshop where, as another way of practicing practical consent, we'd have people role play through teddy bears. And it was kind of funny because we would dress up these teddy bears in BDSM gear and give people scripts and things to role play with these bears. So the first workshop, you're touching each other or not touching each other, but this one is with bears, so there's a little more you can do with that. As far as Columbia in general, the fact that Yes Fest exists speaks to the importance that consent holds for the students. But as far as the administration, a lot of us have heard different stories about cases that have not been handled well by the administration. So there is a difference there.
What was one of the workshops that was your most favorite, that was very popular with your members?
I think the rope bondage workshops are the most popular. I think we had an impact play workshop, and those are popular too, but I think people really like rope bondage. And we would do pretty basic ties with them. And you would either, do these ties on yourself, so on your own leg or your own arm, or you can partner up with someone and tie their wrists together. So there's no suspension going on. We don't have the rigging for that, but just basic things for that. And then they'd also show you different ways to do rope without necessarily having a lot of skills, but more of the the charisma of handling rope, tugging someone really hard versus moving them very gently, and having your own personality and your own flow in the way you do rope. I thought that was really cool.
What is your rope personality, Andy? The people want to know.
So I think I like to start off very soft. So is that okay? And is that too tight? And then I'll start and then when they're in a state of comfort, just start tugging them around like a bully. I like doing that.
The last thing that I want to wrap up with is, tell me how your play personality compares to your real life personality.
Sure. So my real life personality is, I guess in a way, I'm sort of that stereotypical, working woman kind of thing who just needs to let loose. Yeah, I guess my real life personality is really, kind of a perfectionist. I do a lot of work. And my play personality, I'm just kind of like, I don't know, I guess like a bimbo. So it's kind of nice to, I'm an academic, so in my play personality, I'm kind of a dumbass. Acting like, oh, I don't know what to do, or oh, don't do that, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So that kind of like softer, weaker in quotations, and just exploring different sides of me that I don't really get to portray in my day-to-day life.
I think that's fascinating. Life is always about finding balance, even in the sex life, right?
Yeah.
All right. So thank you so much for sitting down with me. That was really fascinating to listen to. I appreciate your time, Andy.
Thanks.
Thanks for chatting.
Now, Sophia actually conducted a 20-minute interview with Andy, and I'm just so proud that she was able to do a good 20 minutes. That's phenomenal. Well, actually, the entire uncut interview between Sophia and Andy, and me trying not to pipe in, is available tomorrow on Patreon for all of my $5 and up fan whores. Something exciting going on my Patreon page is that we are coming up close to episode number 300. Oh, yeah. This here's number 297. And I have never missed an episode in 297 consecutive Wednesdays. A stellar streak. So to celebrate, I'm doing a special offer. And this is going to expire next week at the end of Christmas Day. So listen up, people. For a limited time only, I am going to cover my body with all the names of my fan whores on Patreon. Yeah. All members in good standing as of December 25th will get their names painted on my naked body. And after I'm done covering myself in hundreds of names of wonderful listeners, I will be doing a fun little photo shoot, so you'll get to see the finished product, and you'll even get at least one photo where your name specifically is very visible. This is for all the members of my fan whore community, a great way to say thank you and a great way to celebrate 300 episodes, but I'm only doing it if we reach 200 patrons. Become a member today for as little as $2. Head on over to patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. This offer expires at the end of December 25th. All this Patreon talk kind of makes me want to do the fan whore appreciation moment. I just want to give a little shout out to some of the members whose names very well may be painted on my body very soon. I want to give a shout out to Woody Battaglia, who is actually the co-host of To Date Minimum, a podcast co-hosted by, former guest of the show, Madeline Smith. Y'all remember Madeline from last month, don't you? Yeah, so her co-host loved the show so much he became a member. All right, I want to give a thank you to Jared Gramstrup, who, seems really in the plaid, but he wears it well. I'm jealous. Hey, I want to congratulate Jason Conrad. Jason Conrad, such an aggressive name, like James Bond, John Wick, Jason Conrad. Next fall, Kumail Nanjiani is Jason Conrad. Man, I actually never record these intros when I'm stoned, but this is the first time I'm doing it, and I'm having a lot of fun. I'm going to be honest with you people. All right, and I want to give one more shout out to Brian Fisher, who I just want to say you and your gal are just such a cute couple, man. I kind of looked you up a bit and was like, oh man, they look happy and great. Y'all look like you go out and like have Sicilian pizza together, but also like you go out and do half marathons together. You're doing great, Brian. So that was a fan whore appreciation moment. Shout out to these 4 fan whores, as well as all the members of my whorehead community. All right, now it's time to play Cast That Porn, brought to you by HotMovies.com. HotMovies.com is a pay-per-minute porn site, which makes it both an ethical and affordable way to hashtag pay for some of your porn. And this week, I've got on a comedian to help me out with this recasting. I got Max Fine.
Howdy.
Yeah. Thanks for coming through.
Thanks for having me, man.
You picked quite the title. We're going to be recasting Biography of a Virgin.
Yep.
From Pure Taboo Studios, directed by Craven Moorhead. And, from the description, just to give you an idea, there's a lot of exposition in this. We are already
there's a titty.
There's a titty, but it's a non-sexual titty. Like, even the first bit of nudity isn't sexy. It's just laying there. But in this movie, Mr. Davies is burning the midnight oil as he grades papers in his own office. He's down to the last one for the night. Although once he starts reading it, time seems to slow down. The essay is about a girl owning the fact that she's an 18-year-old virgin.
Perfect.
Yes?
Yes, perfect.
We like this. She's proud, recognizing that her virginity is a special gift she doesn't want to give away to just anyone. I'm assuming she's going to give it to Mr.
Yeah,
Davies.
I have a feeling that. Now, I played this a little differently because I did kind of rewrite this just a bit.
Please do.
But first, I do think that, first thing, it's going to be starring the most famous virgin of all time, J. Edgar Hoover. That's what I think this is about. I really thought, without watching the movie... Oh, there's a penis. Anyways, I do think the girl...
That's okay. You can play... With the recasting, gender, race,
Oh,
size,
sure.
Whether or not they're alive, none of it matters.
Right, because it was also written by...
Beating off to the yearbook.
Picture. Oh, this is some J. Ed. J. Ed would fucking nail this. I'm going to cast the little girl as the second most famous virgin, Anne Frank. And I like to believe that J. Edgar Hoover can't come unless he's reading an already written biography of Anne Frank, the second most famous virgin.
By the way, I just want to point out that outside of that masturbation, I think 11 minutes in, that was the only sex in the movie.
That was also
so
I guess she's 18.
I'm trying to find the sex, but we cannot seem to find it.
Well, here's what's weird about him jerking off to a yearbook. Not all of those girls are 18.
Oh, no!
And they're all in the peripheral. I don't like that one bit. But I do think one of those classmates would have been Chucky Finster, the third most famous virgin. I thought that this movie was going to take a turn plot-wise. I like to believe that this was written by Aaron Sorkin. Lots of walking, lots of talking, not a lot of sex. I think... Here we go. Oh, he's not... There's no way it happened. This is a lot of buildup for...
That's why they call this not just porn, but it's art.
Oh, yeah, this rules. I love this. See, here's where I thought maybe this movie would take a turn. I did not see Anne Frank losing it to J. Edgar Hoover. What I did see happening was the entire cast of Entourage convincing this girl to go to a party where she winds up in some, weird...
Anne Frank to a party?
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Yeah, they seem like they're nice.
She never got to go out, She never got to experience nightlife.
She didn't get to leave much.
Please tell me you're Jewish.
Yeah,
okay?
Oh yeah.
Okay,
oh,
cool.
Yeah.
That approves. That
yeah,
rubber
man,
stamps
I
this
knew what I
entire
was doing
thing.
when I got in here. Is he going to go down on her? This is crazy. How many minutes into the movie?
We are 18 minutes in, and her
she has a
panties are
Mickey
still
Mouse
on.
tattoo, but she's never had that's a. I'm not one to judge. I've got bad tattoos.
This is fine for, here's the great thing. On hotmovies.com, let's say it's like this, and you don't want to use all your minutes on the exposition. You can actually rent or buy the video outright. So it's not costing
For how
you minutes.
much?
Biography of a Virgin is
$4.95 to rent
for a week, or lifetime streaming for $9.95.
I'll be honest,
and
this
it's a long
doesn't-
fucking movie. It's an hour 38.
Totally. And I might rent it, but I have a hard time believing I'm going to buy this movie and watch it again. And no offense
Wait,
to
it's like Nebraska. Like, it's a great movie, but you don't watch it
Dude,
twice.
I've never seen my favorite movie twice. I haven't. It's my favorite movie, and I can't watch it again. And I would rent this because the best thing about good art is it sticks with you mentally, and you don't need to see it again. My favorite songs, I don't listen to. I hear the first beat, and I'm like, I know the rest of the song in my head already. I saved myself 3 minutes.
She's finally naked, and we're 19, almost 20 minutes in.
The other thing about Biography of a Virgin is it could have been written by myself.
Do you not have a script with that title in your dress?
I did when I was Well, for a long time, this could have been my project. Oh my goodness. I mean, that's another part, and I think that's probably why he's doing these moves. I don't know what women want. I'll be the first to say that.
Buddy.
It's okay. Neither does this guy, because he's pulling some very weird moves. I don't know if you saw that weird cup thing he did with his hand away from her.
Well, you can find out if you sign up at hotmovies.com and use promo code MANWHORE. You could get a 40-minute free trial out of the thing, and then you can use your minutes wherever in the film you'd like.
Damn, dude, this is going to be a big night at the Fine Dog Mansion. I can't wait. I'm going to blow this up on my Apple TV. I might have cinema night. My roommate's out of town. This is great. Me, the cats. I'll get real high. I'll write a new script for this. I wonder... I could write a better script, though. For real. Well, hire me, dude.
I will throw this out there. Holly Randall, who's a past guest of the show, great porn director. She sometimes will solicit fan scripts. And if she makes a movie from one of those scripts, she will give them the movie for free.
What do you mean? Like just to watch it?
Yeah, because look, budgets are tight these days. We're trying to get people to pay for even 5 minutes of their porn. So
that's fine. That's fine. But if I write it, I just want to see it with the whole cast. I want to go to the parties.
You want to be part of like the industry. I'm sure that could be negotiated.
All right, tight. Worth it.
Well, Max, thank you. This is the most we've ever spoken in person.
I know.
Watching porn together.
I love it, dude. So, this is what I do with everybody when they come over anyway.
Is this what male friendship is like? Because I never had it.
Dude, I didn't have it until recently, and so it's very strange. My best friend now is a dude. We watch porn together all the time and laugh at it. I've got some fun ones I'll send you.
Well, Max, thanks for coming by.
Thanks
Where
for
can
having
people
me.
find your hilarious ass in the world?
I run a show in New York every Wednesday at Niagara. I have a podcast coming out in 2020 called Boys Book Club. I'm not on Twitter. I'm banned from Twitter.
You're banned from Twitter?
Yeah.
Who'd you harass?
My roommate got me banned. Do you know David Twitey? Blow his ass up if you do.
Tavidi?
Yeah. He's my roommate. He got me banned from Twitter. That's hard. And then Instagram is Eating Burgers.
Eating Burgers on the Insta, everybody. All right. Thanks for coming by, dude.
Thanks for having me, dude.
And one more time, everybody, go to hotmovies.com, use promo code MANWHORE, and pay for a little bit of your porn.
I might do that when I get home.
And now, at last, our guest, Hyung terrorist, a.k.a. Tokyo Cunt Punch, a.k.a. Terra. I don't know her last name. All right. This was a doozy of an episode. I was captivated. I originally was not sure where I was going to connect with this woman on. She's a sex worker who also raps, who also does stand-up comedy. This episode touched on some heavy topics. She used to be part of the Buddhafield cult, which was in that Holy Hell documentary. She was in it. And some shit went down. Okay, she had a 9-year-old flirt with her on Bumble. She used to heavily experiment sexually in her very youthful years with other children, including family members. I'm just like, okay, unexpected right turns. So I didn't really know how to react in these situations because, like, you never want to assume someone's experience. So I didn't know when she was sharing the stuff if she shared it and she was, like, sad about it, or if she was, like, nonchalant about it, or something. She could even be pro it. Remember Betty Dodson? She was very pro incest. So I don't know how she feels, or maybe she jokes about it, but really she is sad. Like, I have no idea. This is an episode where you're gonna say WTF quite a few times, which I think makes it pretty fucking great. She has a self-titled album out on Spotify right now, Hyung Terrorist. I will say it's music you can fuck to, I think. Let's go get a punch in the cunt with Tokyo Cunt Punch.
I'm in love with a couple of guys.
A couple of
two dudes. I would say I have super hots for.
Okay.
I got a sugar daddy that pays my bills, and I kind of love him too.
Okay.
Just because he really wants me to be happy.
Okay.
Love Lainey, but she's taken.
Yeah. And what sexual orientation do we identify as?
I'm actually pretty straight.
Okay, pretty straight.
But I played with women when I was younger, but I haven't I did a threesome with a girl probably a few years ago, but it wasn't my favorite because I feel like all the pussy flaps are intimidating for me, whereas like a cock is, you know, external, so it's like you can see what's happening. I feel like it's a little bit
you pleasing like pussy lips. That's confusing for
well,
you.
I had a threesome and I just felt like I didn't know what I was doing down there. You know what I mean? Like I just feel like I don't know how to do that.
Sure. What about receiving? Were you like, that's cool?
I'm not great at receiving head unless they're super fucking into it.
Okay.
You know, they have to really like my sugar daddy, for example.
Yeah.
Is super into it and he's great at it. I can actually relax. But with most people, I'm always like, wait, are you okay? Is this good? Do I taste okay? Do I need to take like pH balancing vitamins? Like, is it all right?
What
like,
shows enthusiasm for you? Like a head shake? Like a, you know?
Yeah. Cause he's like so into it. Cause it's, you know, I'm like, you know, probably, you know.
Well, I would hope most people who offer to go down on you will be, you know, hyped up about it.
Well, actually not. A lot of guys that I fuck tend to be real pretty boys, and a lot of those real pretty boys are bi and don't really like to give head.
Sure.
And also sometimes, at least in my recent history, I have sex with, you know, what I would call kids. You know, they're just younger. You know what I'm saying? And they don't really know anything yet. So it's like they're really tentative and it's just like a turn off. It's like, all right. Yeah. I mean, I would say young, it's like, you know, 26. I try not to go below there, but there are, you know, 23, you know, 21 sometimes that they're really hot. And then there was like some dude on Bumble that literally was like, I think 9 years old or something and was saying he was 30 and using somebody else's pictures and then like let me know that. And he kept finding me. He was like pretending to be some really gorgeous model.
Did you say 9?
Yes.
Well, okay.
And it's crazy because, you know, YouTube has these new...
Wait, do you advise people to admit talking to 9-year-olds on online dating?
Well, I didn't meet him. I told him he needs to like, you know, get off of the thing and like, no way. You know what I mean? But I also respect his ingenuity, you know?
Yeah. But would you have hooked up with whoever his avatar was?
Yeah, that was like a hot
like
model.
Did he picked a good fake person to catfish with?
He picked a gorgeous model that I like did an image search on, and I was like, oh shit, like that guy's really hot. Because initially that's who I thought I was talking to, and I was like, oh my god. But I have met models on Bumble, you know. So like,
how long into finding out the kid's 9 do you still at least are exchanging messages?
Oh, I mean, I kept unmatching, but he kept finding me.
What?
Yeah, it was weird. And also,
little hacker 9-year-old hacked Bumble just to keep finding you over and over.
Yeah, it's crazy because, you know, YouTube's new age restriction thing that they make you like, they're like, okay, you have to mark this safe for kids or not okay for kids. You know what I'm talking about? Did you get that message? And I marked all my videos not for kids just because like my lyrics are kind of crazy and stuff. But
your performer names are also kind of crazy.
Yeah.
Before you even hit play, you're like, this isn't for a child.
Exactly. Like I can't remember who was telling me that they couldn't even, the last show that I did, Honey Pot Radio in LA, they couldn't even send out the email blast with my full artist name in it because it wasn't going through their email. It was like being flagged for like terrorism.
Yeah.
even though it's spelled a little differently, they probably have like all the different spellings. But I was hoping when I marked my videos like not safe for kids that like the kids that are like real smart will like make fake profiles and like be able to watch my videos maybe. Like, I don't know. That's what I would hope.
That's fun. It was a good time to say I'm chatting right now with musician Hyung Terrorist, aka comedian Tokyo Cunt Punch, which was fun to figure out. Like I was asking Lainey, like, how do I address her? And so you call her Cunt, Tokyo, Terrorist. Pick any of the names and all of her names, and you can just go with that.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me, Billy.
Yeah. Thanks for coming out. Welcome to New York.
This is my first hotel bed-in.
A bed-in
podcast.
Fun. Very, very nice. Well, yeah, I was actually listening to your, and I think you saw on Instagram on the way over, I was listening to music. It was like, this is like fuck music. This is
shit.
Like this, you know, because I think a very common thing, people don't know what to play when they got that Tinder date over. And then it's like, you could play, I just hit shuffle play on yours. I feel like that will work for setting a mood. Yeah.
Wow. I'm going to have to try to fuck to my record then.
I think so. I mean, yeah, the
Amazing.
music, the track you have down there.
That is the best compliment ever. Let's high five.
Yes,
I heard
yes.
white people like to high five.
Yeah. Well, are you not a white person?
I mean, I'm a mix, but I think there's a lot of like Eastern European in there. I've been high fiving like crazy, and then I was at a open mic, and they were talking about how white people like to high five, and I was like, oh my god, I feel called out.
How did you get the name Tokyo Cunt Punch for your comedic persona?
Yeah. My older sister was hanging out with an actor who she didn't tell me his name, but he told her Tokyo Cunt Punch should be a thing. And then she kept calling me that because I'm very edgy and crazy. And then my consultant for my music project at the time thought my stand-up was so edgy that he wanted it to be completely separated. So I started using the name Tokyo Cunt Punch, and I separated everything out. I made a website for Hyung Terrorist and one for Tokyo Cunt Punch, and same for all the social profiles, different YouTube channels. And then what ended up happening at long last was that I actually wanted to, I needed to get some love and promotion for my music, but I wasn't getting any. So I ended up breaking with my consultant on that one point. I was like, can I have your blessing to just like veer from your advice on this one thing? Like I kind of just need to go with this. And, I just kind of rolled it all together. And so now it's like I have 5,000 aliases. But it kind of works, it kind of works because, I think at the end of the line that, comedians want to be rock stars and rock stars love to laugh. So I feel like it kind of works, I don't know. I hear like Justin Bieber like goes to comedy shows, and like, I just feel like it all kind of gels a little bit.
Yeah. Or you're John Mayer and you think you can do comedy. So you just oh yeah, he drops by the Comedy Cellar and we'll just like do sets sometimes.
No.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
100%.
That's so funny.
He's been doing that for, I don't know, 6-7 years or so.
That's so crazy.
Yeah. He'll just pop in.
Yeah. My consultant was worried that like people wouldn't take my music seriously because like, I'm like, hey, what's up? I'm a hooker. And when I'm not sucking cocks for money, I do music. You know what I mean? My shit's kind of like that. And he thought, well, no one's going to take you seriously. But it's been actually totally working
The
together.
consultant was cool with the name Hyung Terrorist.
Yeah, he liked
But it was
that.
like, yeah, but if you have this other one that says Tokyo Cunt Punch, that one, no one's going to take that one seriously. Come on now.
Well, it wasn't the name. The name was something else, but just the actual subject material, because all my comedy is about being a hooker.
Okay.
Like I would say 80% of it. I want to branch out of that.
You start with writing about what you know, right?
But yeah, I'd like to do like, an hour comedy, special just about the hooker thing. And then maybe I can leave it behind and like, do other things. But it's like, there's just so much material.
Yeah. Do you have an do you have like an alias for the sex work?
I've had many aliases. Yeah.
But
Yeah.
like, are any of them as, animated
They're not
as
that
your others? Or is it
interesting.
just like,
No, like
Alice?
like Sky? I like the name Sky for
Okay.
hooker shit.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. What do you currently have ads out right now?
I don't have ads, but I've been like on those
You're on
websites.
sugar sites?
Yeah, exactly. Sugar sites. I'm like, the guy I met through like sugarmodels.com. And they would be very unhappy to know that I'm just like, it's supposed to be a discreet thing and they make you check off something that's like, I'm not an escort, but they're all doing that shit. And Seeking Arrangement actually wanted me to cast me for like their homepage, and like, but my best friend at the time that was like advising me on all the shit was like, don't do that. But now I'm like looking back, I'm like, I should have done it.
Yeah, why not?
It would have been kind of like funny, but then like, if
There are sex workers all over the country trying to find a place to advertise, and you were being offered prime real estate.
I
on the
know. I feel so stupid. I was really kind of afraid. But can we just talk for like a second?
Sure.
Look at these gorgeous snowflakes. I know you guys see this all the time, but these are big.
So you call them gorgeous because you don't get to see them. We call this a hassle.
Oh yeah, it's
and
annoying.
a nuisance.
But they're so big, and I don't know.
They're big, and then they shut down the subway, and then we go like
Yeah.
it's very fun like watching people like move, like when folks move here from like an LA or from Florida, and they go like, snow.
I know.
It's the first snow. I want to go outside in the snow, and I'd be like. Like in New Yorkers who've been here longer, you just go like, it's annoying.
It's annoying. I know.
Because I grew up in North Jersey. If you had we had a lawn, so snow could have the potential to be fun. We can go into the lawn in this space to go have fun and throw snowballs and build a snowman. But out here, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So you only get the negative parts of the snow and none of the fun, you know, with it.
Yeah, I lived here for just like 2 years.
Yeah.
And it was, you know, I'm from LA and I couldn't handle, you know, the icebox winters that like last for 6 months. So I totally feel you. I do have the luxury of like returning to LA in like a week. So I'm just like, oh, let's play with the snowflakes.
This is a novelty for you.
This is great. I'm just like, yeah.
But then again, your city just goes on fire.
Yeah, exactly. My city's been on fire like a hell of a lot, actually.
Yeah, who would have thought building like a city in the middle of the desert would be a good, you know, bad idea? I don't know. So this is a good city planning situation.
Yeah, apparently, like with climate change, pretty soon too, the water level is gonna rise, and yeah, I don't know. We'll probably all die before then, but
yeah, but we're gonna go out fucking. No, okay.
Yeah.
So you were saying before that you're in love with a couple guys.
yeah, I can't say who.
Of
Well, I
course.
mean, maybe one.
Unless
I
they're
could say.
famous, then I kind of need
Both
you to.
of them.
No.
Well, one of them is for sure famous, and whatever. It doesn't matter. I mean, I don't.
Are these people that you're like seeing, or just you have
I have a crush on.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have connections to them? Are you in their
Totally.
circles? Okay. I didn't
Yeah.
know if it was like I have a huge crush on Ryan Reynolds. I'm like, get in line. Me too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you've got the sugar daddy.
And then I got the sugar daddy.
Were you escorting before you switched to sugaring, or has there always been more of these like longer deal situations?
I think they're the same thing. I don't know the difference.
I would say like escorting would be more of a, you know, per date like basis, whereas in sugar relationships seem to
It's
be
like
a
on
little
a
bit
month.
more. They kind of they
Yeah.
stretch out longer. They're like these faux relationships with a money element.
I had to go through probably like 40 different dudes before I met the guy that for some reason tolerates me and is into me. And he's really great because like he's very much older and I don't know, he can handle me, and really I don't know anybody else that can. And it's perfect because like he's married and he's got kids, so it's like, you know, I don't really have to deal with him that much. I just have to be like nice and sweet whenever I can. And sometimes I'm a real cunt, you know, but like he, like, you know, sometimes I will send like, you know, 20, 30 texts about like, you know, I need this, I need that, I need ass implants, I want tits, you know, can I have 10K for this and that? And it's like, no, I'm already eating into my retirement. And I'm not sure how I'm gonna live, you know. But he really does care about me. I feel like, you know, even like right now, he's trying to let me, you know, he's trying to help me to like stay a couple extra days and change a flight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he really just wants me to be happy. And I feel like he really does love me. Like half the time I'm like, this guy's a fucking goblin and I have nightmares forever. And then half the time I'm like, but he's really sweet and he was super hot when he was like 30 years old. And I would have been crazy about him back then.
So you just look at like the framed photos on the nightstand, like when you're doing it.
No,
Just be like,
I wish.
I'm technically fucking that guy. It just doesn't look like him right now.
I wish I just closed my eyes. Actually, like 2 weeks ago, I actually had a fucking dream about this guy.
Okay.
And I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I wish I got paid for that shit. It was like, he was in my dream. He was lying on a couch. He was like lying horizontal, and there were like some teal curtains like coming down some high windows. And I was just like in this house with him. And then I woke up and I was like, oh my God, I have to dream about this guy too? That is fucked up. But it has been 5 years. So I mean,
5 years.
it's been a long time.
That's a long sugar
I
relationship.
know. I'm trying to get in somebody else now. I feel like I just haven't had time.
Yeah. Wait, so you want to juggle a second one, or do you want to break up with this one? And
I don't want to break up with him. I actually want to get life insurance on him.
I feel like
He's kind of near the end. I mean, it would be dumb to like kick him to the curb at this point. I've really done like
you've invested time in this.
We're
one.
at the point where like sometimes he can't even come all the time, and I just get to like be like, all right, guess it's not happening, you know. So it's like I'm at that sweet spot. I feel like now with him, it's like, but I'd like to like get somebody else on so that I can,
ensure your future.
yeah,
when he goes.
I just want to be a Joan Rivers that got the plastic surgery right.
Okay.
You know, and that's going to cost money. So I need to find somebody else that can foot the bill.
Well, I bet the wife probably is laying claim to the life insurance, but you gotta get yourself written in that will.
Oh, fun fact.
Definitely.
Fun fact. Anybody can take out a life insurance policy on anybody and nobody needs to know about it. All that needs to happen is that person needs to okay it. So he basically just needs to like sign a paper that says, all right, this person can take, life insurance out on me, and his wife would never know about it. Wow. But she would know about it if I was in the will. So, that's why, like, I can't be in the will.
Fair.
Yeah. He's an old school, a small town Italian boy.
Yeah.
So, he's got manners. His mom died when he was really young. So he's had the kind of hardship that makes him, like, a really good person, I feel like, He's just, he's deep, he can cook. He's kind of an artist. He tries to help me with my jokes, which is a whole other nightmare. But
oh yeah, hey, partners out there, don't help with the jokes unless they ask for it.
Especially John's, like, come on, dude. And he's got a real thick Italian accent, which makes his sexy talk hysterical. He doesn't know how to pronounce pussy. It's really funny.
What was he managed to get out?
Oh, he's like, oh, you have the best pussy in the whole world. You are the only girl for me. This dick is all yours. It's like, oh my God. I just have to not laugh. It's like, I just close my eyes and I'm like, is this fucking happening?
Oh gosh.
It's like, but I'm a crazy batch of things. Like, I don't know if you know this, but I was in a cult too. And when I was in this cult, we were taught to sort of, to be able to sort of detach from our ego and compartmentalize to a point of almost like, I feel like sometimes being a superhero, where you can go in and like, suck a dick that tastes bad and like come out of it, go take a shower and be like, what's real? You know what I'm saying?
This is the Buddhafield?
Yeah, the Buddhafield.
Yeah, they were in what was the Netflix documentary called again?
Yeah, Holy Hell.
Yeah, wait, so what was this cult situation? Because one, I think a lot of people sometimes accuse me of running a sex cult, and I'll be like, I don't know, you might be right. I'm not sure yet. You gather my fans around into a room, people start taking their clothes off, and it's like, I didn't start it, I swear.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what they wanted to do at the open mic last night after I got off. The host was like, let's lock the doors and see what happens.
That's exactly what one wants to hear on an open mic.
I know.
A man going on stage like, let's lock the doors.
Everybody got kind of tense. I was like, okay.
What ages were you in this cult for?
I was in the cult. I mean, I was initiated when I was 14.
Okay.
My big sister was in it as a 20-year-old, and she's 14 years older than me. So I was 6 at the time. She was just getting into it from her best friend. And so she sort of brought me into it. And so I was like meditating to Enya when I was 10 years old. And then I was going to, Paramahansa Yogananda's, Self-Realization Fellowship Center in Pacific Palisades in Los Angeles. Which is like a little center where everybody meditates and stuff. And then I was initiated when I was 14, and I stayed in it, a year, like right up until I got out of college. And I ended up, they started in LA, then they traveled to Austin because the cult awareness got them in LA. So they,
What's cult awareness?
There's something called cult awareness, and they guess they go around trying to break up cults and stuff. Okay. Yeah, some boyfriend of a girl that ended up being in it, gorgeous girl, alerted them, and so everybody broke up, and then they recongregated in Austin, Texas. So I went from LA to Austin, Texas, and my parents weren't supposed to know about it. So it was I just was going to Austin to go to college there and be with my sister who happened to be there.
And what's the initiation process? Also, what was the hook of this cult? Because I feel like each cult, they got like their thing. So what was like, I guess the central focus of this fucked up organization?
It was actually all about meditation.
Okay.
Yeah, it was. And that was really beautiful. I mean, I love escaping my head, and now I'll do that through, whatever, drugs, alcohol. It's fun. But just getting high, you could get high from meditating and, just kind of dropping your mind. Dropping your mind is a phrase that they would use. So that was pretty much what it was about. Now, later we learned he was gay and he was having sex with male disciples. We were told not to have sex, but.
So wait, he was telling the members, hey, no fucking, but he was just slaying dick in the back room.
Yeah, it's a great documentary. Holy hell. It's like one of Netflix's top 5 documentaries. I don't remember
Okay.
who made that list, but and yeah, the guy that directed it, William Allen, is supposed to shoot my next music video for a song I wrote called Anal Big that's on my record. Which
Naturally.
is super fitting.
Of course. It
No
would be
pun
that.
intended.
Sure.
Super fitting for that master cock.
Did you abstain from sex for that time period, or were you slipping? Or
No, I got shamed for being with a girl when I was 11, and I didn't even masturbate from like 11 to 19. And then, I was in this cult at that time, and then the second in command ended up wanting to fuck me, and I feel like he sort of took advantage of me, but I was 19, but I was also brainwashed. He was 43. I was 19, and I lost my virginity to him, I would say. I fucked boys when I was 5, but I was like, looking down and being like, oh, is it in? Is it in? So I don't really consider that.
Wait, you fucked boys when you were 5?
Like across the street, cousins and
Like,
stuff.
Your age?
Yeah.
Kids?
Yeah.
Can kids get hard at 5?
I don't remember. I just remember not being sure if it was in and like looking down and being like, is it in? So I don't consider that losing my virginity, but like when it hurt and I think, my hymen broke was 19 to this guy. And he was like the second in command to the master. His name in the cult was Aris. His original name was Ben. He was from New Jersey.
Ben from New Jersey, and then
I
he
know.
recreates himself as, what'd you say, Aris?
Well, the master renamed everybody, but not me. He gave my sister the name Orchid. Yeah.
And then what yours was whatever it
Mine
is?
mine
Okay.
stayed Tara for some reason. Mine stayed Tara. That's my birth name is Tara.
Okay.
But yeah, he was really articulate, and I was interested in his insides. On the outsides, he wasn't really anybody that I liked, and I had to literally drop my mind to have sex with him. But
And you felt like you had to drop, did you feel like you had to have sex with him, and then dropping your mind is like how you found yourself able to? Like,
I mean, I just wasn't attracted to him.
right. So
Physically.
then I think like, why are you having sex with him?
Well, because I feel like he kind of took advantage, Don't be 43 and try to fuck a girl that's 19 in a cult. It's like,
I'm 30 and I typically try not to fuck 19-year-olds, period.
like fuck a 19-year-old, but if she's in a cult, like, that girl has mental problems.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I just feel like, he took advantage of me a little bit. And when I ran into him like years later, I was pissed off. He cut off communication after the cult broke up with me and everybody for about 10 years. And then like he reached out and he was like, hey, on Facebook. And I was like, you did the same thing to me that the master did to these disciples. And I just said, I was really upset when he finally reached out, and I was like, and I'm going to go fuck a 70-year-old man for $500. Like, he used to call me his little lamb. So I knew that would really get him.
Yeah. Did you and when did you finally become disillusioned with the cult situation?
I was bored of it before they even broke up. I got tired of it because I'd been there for a long time, and it wasn't interesting anymore. It was the same things over and over. And I just started to look at everybody like they were slow moving targets,
How so?
cattle roaming about, slow moving targets. That was just my phrase for people. I felt like I just didn't belong. It was boring. I wanted to get out and do my music. I was tired of, So I was made an example in the cult where like the master would be like, Tara could go do American Idol, but she's here with us. And I'd be like, yeah, I'm a good disciple. But funny story. So after I got out of the cult, I ended up going to American Idol to sign up in San Francisco. And I made it to round 2, but then they asked me, why do you want to be on American Idol? And I said, I want to find out if Simon Cowell's gay. And then they sent me out of the room, and these 4 people deliberated, and then I was told, like, I'm not going through.
But also, I like how that you thought, well, if I win American Idol, then you get the prize money and an envelope that tells you whether or not Simon Cowell's gay.
Right.
It's like, okay.
Yeah. And I kind of wanted to shit up Simon, which is kind of like the subtext.
Was that going to be your test? Be like, well, if he doesn't fuck me, then we know what that means.
Yeah. I felt like I would maybe have a shot to see, like, all right, what's your deal? But here's a funny story, Lainey. So I got a message on Instagram last night about somebody was saying, because I talked about this thing on Tinfoil Cast, a Tinfoil Hat with Sam Tripoli, and this person was like, yeah, actually what you said about that I think is true, because I saw Simon Cowell coming out of a gay bar somewhere. And I was like, but I mean, a straight guy can go to a gay bar, right? I mean, I don't know, but I got a message about that specifically, and I was like, that's so funny.
It's like you do, you Simon. You talk about the cult so like nonchalantly.
I know,
and even when you say you want to get out, it's you're citing boredom.
Yeah.
Were you even aware though about being brainwashed? Were you aware that this is actually a cult, or was this simply this is boring and not for me anymore?
Well, I think it was really fun and interesting. I think as a result of it, I'm, definitely twisted somehow, but maybe not.
Well, you do call yourself Tokyo Cum Punch and casually wear cat ears. So I'm not going to draw any conclusions. I'm just going to observe.
I don't know. I think I really was brainwashed. At the same time, I think there's so many cults in the world. Mm-hmm. Just some are better done than others. Sure. Make a lot of money. Make a lot of money if you're going to do a cult, I mean, I feel like there's just so many cults out there, and it was just kind of so much fun that I don't know if I would have done things differently.
Really?
First of all, there were hella beautiful people in there.
Okay.
So it's like, yeah, I want to be around all these hot people.
That you're not allowed to have sex with, apparently.
Well, people had sex anyway.
Yeah, they weren't, yeah.
But, I mean, just the girls were just stunning, and the guys, were really, really cute. And it was really fun, and it was playful, and, my master was really funny. He was from Venezuela, so he had a really funny accent, and he would fuck up all the traditional American sayings. He would be sharing a story, and he'd be like, and Lord and behold, and we would just like laugh about, just, he just was really charming and very cute. I mean, he was a hot guy.
But at the same time, there were these dark elements running around, whether it was the master with the guys he was seducing, or even the second command who was, sexually, do you feel like you were sexually coerced?
Oh yeah, 100%.
So there's this going on. I imagine he's doing it with who knows how many other women in the cult over, whatever many years.
Yeah.
And, would you... Oh, that was the leader, but I'm talking about the second in command.
Yeah.
Sorry, the Jersey boy Ben, who, Aris or whatever he's calling himself. It just sounds, I just wonder, how long after exiting the cult you kind of look back, and if anything looks different, whether it's seeing a documentary about it or reading about it, or if you look back and go like, no, that was just like a thing I did.
He's a psychologist now. And he does sessions online.
What?
He lives in Ohio.
He's allowed to just do that?
He's actually a genius. He's a really smart guy. He's a really smart guy. I don't think he knew
also
what
anyone
he was
who's
doing.
You don't think he knew he was abusing anyone?
I don't think he knew. I think he kind of maybe thought of me as like a wise old soul. Maybe I was too advanced. I don't know. I do know it does take two to tango, so I'm not going to be like, I'm the victim. I mean, I've had.
Yeah, but if you're 14, 15, 16, your mind can't compete with someone,
oh yeah,
significantly older who's coercing you in a power structure like a cult.
Yeah.
Although it is interesting though that the leader, he's doing that with men, and then the second command, you're suggesting maybe he didn't know either. And there is a world where you could say he might have been looking to the master and saying, well, that's what he does, and I'm also in a position of power, so I shall do as the master does. but I like pussy, so I'll do it with these cute young women around.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely upset with the master on a few different levels, but this was the main thing, you know, and he couldn't really tell me about it because nobody talked about it and nobody knew. But yeah, I mean, before me, he was with this drop dead stunning woman. She was just such a sight for sore eyes. This woman. She's in the film for a few little things. You see her humping him in the water and being playful about it. It's really funny. But yeah, I don't know. I think if I had to do things differently sometimes, I think I probably would have maybe not gone to college and just tried to do my music. And I think definitely getting into stand up as a teenager would have been really cool. Cause God, I would be so like deep in it by now. I think.
But we all would have resented you during those teenage years. Do you feel you're getting these different messages while in there because you're being told don't have sex and be chaste. And then the second command, he's seducing you and doing what he does. All of that. And then you're seeing whatever you may or may not have seen going on around you. And it's all during your formative years. What effect do you feel like this maybe had on your sexuality, if any? Well,
I think I was really fucked up to begin with. Maybe not fucked up.
You were apparently banging your cousin at 5.
Cousins, plural.
Sorry, I don't want to rob you of additional incest.
Girl across the street, guy across the street, girl next door. I was really active sexually from a very young age. My grandpa, who couldn't do much, was living with us, and I just found this out. I just figured this out with my therapist. I think perhaps the reason why I was, maybe not, maybe it was just independent of this, but my grandpa was living with us and he would always watch porn. So I could literally just peek into his room, you know, and just be like, oh shit, that's cool. Mm-hmm. Wow. And I figured out too, because I'm an advanced individial. I was like looking through the TV back when we had channels, you know,
okay.
And you know, in the 90s, I guess. And
hey, kids listening, there once were a thing called TV channels. They weren't apps. They were like apps, but they all had a number associated.
Yeah, and I remember I was able to get the porn channels and see things, but it would be like with those static lines coming through, but I would hear it and I would see like small little snippets and I'd be like, oh shit. Like, and so I was really excited, probably way before I should have been. But you know, here's the other thing. Nowadays you have YouPorn and all these sites, and you know what? Nowadays, if I was 5 years old, I probably would be able to figure out that same shit right on my phone. You know, so I feel like maybe I'm not that different from everybody. Maybe, you know,
I don't think seeing some porn, you know, then is going to be too much of the factor. I'm thinking all these. I think all the people that you're, you know, that, I mean, I don't know the ages of everyone involved, but, you know, being a 5-year-old being sexual with other children, feel like that might inform things a little bit more. Because we can't escape sexual imagery in the day and age we've been in the last few decades.
Well, it's just that it feels so good. And as a child, like when you first discover that, I mean, that's everything. I mean, to this day, it's like I didn't bring my vibrator with me, and I regret it sometimes, but I do think I performed.
You're literally around the corner from a really good sex shop, so you're fine.
Oh, that's true.
There's a Babeland right around here.
That is true. I like those ones that like run real loud with that huge motor.
Yeah.
Like the neighbors would be like, she's vacuuming, you know? But yeah, I don't know.
Were all the situations when you were a kid with other kids?
Oh yeah. I did try to get my uncle to touch me one time, but he wasn't interested. I played a game with him.
Elaborate.
Well, I was like, okay, you lay down on the floor and you spread out like this, like a snowflake, and I'm going to lay on top of you, and I'm going to, you know, I was like, okay, what's he going to do? But we didn't do anything. And then it was like time to eat. I was like, you suck, dude. What kind of uncle are you?
What kind of uncle doesn't molest their niece?
He, you know,
who's clearly asking for it.
He was so fun. We'd like, we'd go on a bike together around my little neighborhood, like at dusk. And I felt so cool. Like I was out late, you know, when I was little. And, he was a good looking guy, you know. So were my cousins.
Yeah, but at 5, like, are you really conscious of that type of thing? I remember being like, oh, so-and-so's pretty, but I mean, not that early.
I was always a connoisseur of beauty.
Oh, okay.
I think so.
Do you and your cousins still ever talk about back then? Ever talk about like what y'all did together?
No, not really. No, we don't ever talk about it. The guy that I gave my first blowjob to at age 7, he was 11 at the time, doesn't talk to me anymore. And boy, was he gorgeous. But his brother, who I also fucked, does talk to me.
How old were you when you fucked his brother?
Probably like 9 or some shit. Then our families diverged and split up over money. So our parents don't really talk anymore, but we do.
And where are the parents in all of this?
I mean, we'd have sleepovers, you know, there would be bunk beds and the parents wouldn't be, God, I'm getting horny just talking about this.
Talking about your prepubescent sexual adventures.
Yeah. There's something kind of fucked up about it, but there's something kind of cool about it. I don't know.
Well, there is something that society does say is fucked up about all of that. I would agree, yeah.
Yeah.
But you look back at all that stuff fondly.
Well, I mean, you got these shows like Game of Thrones, and they make it look hot, you know, like brother and sister. Come on.
Sure. But they were like fully grown adult. It was like adult incest. Which isn't it interesting though that HBO's allowed to have incest depicted and not say stepsister, but porn still can't get their credit cards processed unless they say stepson.
Oh, really?
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, that's why we see all that step porn is only because there's outdated obscenity laws and there's like a lawyer at all these companies saying, I don't know, in theory we get prosecuted, and so then the credit card companies say you have to say step, which is stupid. I watched one porn recently where there was a grandma, a ma, and a daughter, but they can't say grandmother, mother, daughter. So like the mother's all like, this is my stepdaughter, but then like the relationship between the mom and the grandma also has to be step, and the grandma, and that ways also the grandma and the daughter is like also not really, it was getting ridiculous. Everyone's calling each other step this, even though they're not actually step siblings. It's like, just say you're all related. It's okay. No, I'm not going to call anybody.
Look, it's the director.
Your cousin? Okay.
The director of Holy Hell just sent me a audio message. Well, is his name? I don't know what he's going to say.
But you look back all the childhood memories fondly.
Okay, but here's my question for you,
Sure. Oh,
Billy.
please.
As an English major, I do have a BA in English from the University of Texas while I was in the cult. As an English major, we were taught, you know, symbolism, look into things, you know? So if these two cats from Game of Thrones are having sex as adults, they probably had sex as kids. Incest, you know, I'm saying a person, I mean, when is a person at their most beautiful? I think 6, 7 years old. That's the prime. That's like the first prime. It's like it's really hard to find an ugly 6 or 7 year old. They're cute as fuck, right?
Okay.
And then they grow up and you're like, oh my God, what happened? But like 6 or 7 is like, they're gorgeous. So if the brothers and sisters are fucking at 30 years old, my guess, they were fucking that doesn't just happen. It's like, oh wow, look at you turned into this swan. It's like, no. I mean, I don't think that shit, if you just want to like do a little bit of like symbolism and reading into Game of Thrones and you want to talk about like that incest, that shit, it indicates, in my opinion, it indicates, you know, a long time of incest. It's not like,
sure,
well, now we're kings and queens and
now, well, we're finally 18. Now we can commit incest.
Now we can,
sure.
Exactly.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So you approve of incest?
No, I'm totally messed up. I mean, I make jokes about it because it's therapy for me.
Okay.
I've had a lot of bad therapists. I've had therapists that right when I got out of the cult, these men these old white dudes would try to like make me really feel like a victim. And it was really damaging and really weird. Now I have great therapists. You know, I've ended up going with women, even though typically, you know, in my history, I haven't really had a great history of a lot of women friends, which is all changed in the last year. Now I have like a bunch of women friends, and my therapists have been women that have helped me. But, you know, some of these guys, like, they make me they want me to really sort of embrace and accept this idea that I'm like this mass victim to like these things. And it's like, that doesn't help me. Like that really, maybe that helps some other people and they need to process that, like if they've been raped or this or that. But for me, you know, I gotta sort of accept, like, I was really young, but I made choices, I made choices.
Well, I think the question is like, as a society, do we accept whether or not children can make choices? Or can they make choices that we should trust to let them go make, or are they choices that should be done under some supervision as they learn how to make better choices? I don't know the answer. I just think that's it's why we don't just say it's why if a 7-year-old is very much going after her uncle, even though she says I'm making a choice here, we would still say we don't let you make this choice at 7.
Yeah.
And here's some reasons why. And if you're going to try to bang your uncle, wait till you're of, statutory age.
Yeah, 100%. Like I definitely do not advocate incest. I have 2 cats, brother and sister. When I see him getting up on her, I'm like, get the fuck away from Shoshana. Mork, you're a bad boy. Leave her alone. I've been a teacher. I've watched kids, and I'm very, very protective of them. Very protective of them. I've had an 11-year-old message me on Instagram. I mean, for something that got taken down, I had a joke about, I had this joke like, babe, ever since I told you, I was telling this kid the other day, babe, I feel like ever since I told you I was a hooker, you haven't been that into me. And he just said, I'm 11. Yo, I'm not trying to play mathematician here. You want your dick sucked or not? Stop wasting my time.
And then the 11-year-old DM'd you like, well,
yeah.
I mean, I'm
like,
11.
Exactly.
Will you suck my penis?
He's like, yo, I'm 11. I'm like, oh my God, cry emoji.
Yeah.
And then, that got taken off Instagram.
Well, I am glad that you would not bang a child.
No, I'm really protective of them, just I think too, because of what I've been through, but I just have to make light of my situation, and that's why I do the comedy. But I definitely don't advocate it. Sometimes after my sets, like gorgeous girls will come up to me and buy me shots and be like, I'm a sex worker, and it's like, it almost breaks my heart a little bit because I want to live in a world where, gorgeous girls don't have to do that. They could do that, but like they could make a lot of money doing something else that doesn't involve fucking, nasty dudes, for example. But, I know a lot of gorgeous girls like, Ginger Banks.
Yeah.
Ginger Banks, she introduced me to Lainey, and she's like super, like her vibes are so high, and
how'd you meet? Wait, so Ginger introduced you to Lainey?
Yeah.
Then how'd you meet Ginger? I just would have assumed that you would have introduced her to Ginger.
No.
Ginger's amazing. She's one of my favorite people on the internet.
I know. She was at my last show, and she's I love her so much. She just emanates light. She's like a fucking angel. And there's no negativity to what she does. She just, just cute. Like
she approaches such potentially negative things and figures like, let's say it's like the call out culture stuff, and where you want, in a situation where you could just like yell at people on the internet, she goes, no, I'm going to call them in. I'm going to have these conversations with people, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, okay, great. Like she wants to try to have a positive, beautiful spin on like anything that's dark and nasty.
I know. She just wrote an article for XBiz actually that I have to read about shame. I really do look up to her. She's so amazing, and when I get around her, I just feel nothing but like warmth and joy. And that's so cool. But I do also feel bad for, the girls that are sort of don't want to do it, but they do it because they need the money.
Sure.
And it's not, but then again, work is work. Who likes their fucking job? It's very few people that are just like, love their job.
Yeah, that's why I never like when people go like, oh, what? There's no way she likes doing that. I was like, she doesn't have to. I know plenty of people. I have a friend who she used to be the highest paid escort in North Carolina. And then she had to stop that and she started working at Starbucks, where she literally had to clean up shit from a bathroom because someone shit on the floor. And she was like, this is way more degrading than fucking an old dude for money.
Look, I had so many. I was a substitute teacher, and I honestly, that to me is worse.
Getting paid $70 a day.
Yeah.
Whereas then you get $70 for a picture.
Well, it was more than
Snapchat.
that. It was like it was like $130 a day, but you got to be there at like 7:30, and you're out. And it's just dealing with kids.
$130, multiple kids, starts at 7:30, many hours, or one dude for a half hour. For $130 sounds, way more economically responsible.
Yeah, well, I would never do anything for less than $400 that involves.
You go, girl. I'm a cheap whore, so that's just where we differ.
Yeah, well, there's but to answer your question about Ginger, I met her because I got on Kill Tony, when Ian Edwards was on there, and I actually had a dope show.
Your first one?
Yeah,
I saw the I
last.
watched the YouTube of it last night. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I saw that.
I haven't been up since, but that went really great. Ian Edwards is cool as hell, and we're friends. And Ginger was there, and she just came up to me afterwards, and I had no idea who she was. And of course, later that night, I looked her up and totally came to her videos, and told her so. But yeah, so that's how I met Ginger. And then I was like, as I told you, I was having a lot of trouble getting my music anywhere. It wasn't getting any love. And I was like, Ginger, you're probably totally the wrong person to ask, but do you know how I could try to build up, my presence with this music stuff? And she was like, I know somebody that could maybe get you on Too Short's podcast. And then, she's like, let me introduce you to Lainey. But she believed in me. It wasn't just like, you can do this for anybody. And so that just kind of happened from there. And, apparently she's never recommended anybody to Lainey before. So I feel really special.
Wow.
Lainey's like, she never fucking did. It's a very different connotation. We're fucking referrals. Oh, that's so fun. So in your music as Hyung terrorist, which now knowing it's terror makes way more sense. What is your music kind of about? I was more vibing. I'm more of a melody person, so I just vibe out to the melody and lyrics to kind of escape me. But what would you say your music's typically about?
Well, this particular record, it's about
the self-titled
drugs.
one.
Yeah.
Okay.
The Hyung terrorist record. Peep it out on Spotify if you haven't. It's drugs, sex, hooking, money, all that shit.
Those are hobbies of most of the people who listen to this podcast. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, it's like legit hip hop. I mean, I wrote a lot of it on acid, but I also went in like a scientist, and I was just like checking the rhythms, checking the flows. I modeled it after my favorite artists, ODB, Wu-Tang Clan, Redman, Busta Rhymes, D Antwoord for one of them. That's the one Anal Big is modeled after. But I didn't get into hip hop for a while. I started doing singer-songwriter stuff. I got a guitar when I was 10, and I was doing singer-songwriter
When you
stuff.
weren't fucking everyone on the block at 10, you were picking up a guitar.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was actually I learned classical for 8 years, from 10 to 18. I played Segovia to get into the classical guitar program at the University of Texas at Austin. And I would write like these songs that were sort of like a little Joan Baez, a little Joni Mitchell. And in college, I did a little bit of like stuff that sounds a little bit inspired by Nina Simone, her Love Songs album. When I got out of the cult, I got really far with it, but I didn't do anything. Like I ended up turning down the deal that went to Amy Winehouse, which was devastating. And I even played for Rick Rubin. Couldn't get any love. Decided to move to New York, and I thought, because this is the great equalizer, and I thought, if I can do my art in New York, then I'm a true artist, But I got my ass kicked in New York. I did some other things. I ended up recording at the Magic Shop in Soho. I don't know if you know about that place, Crosby Street. It's since been closed. Steve Rosenthal. And I did the living room, which also has been closed, where it used to be right next to the pianos.
Yeah.
But
Living Room, Cake Shop, all those right there.
I know they're gone.
Cape Berlin used to run a fun comedy show at Cake Shop.
Yeah. My head was shaved at the time because I was going through things. But then
You seem to always be going through something or another.
Yeah, they would call me Britney Spears when I walked through the basketball courts. But I was just really couldn't get any love for the singer-songwriter stuff. So then, I got into this hooking business, and that led me to also just feel all kinds of things. And I feel like I had to become hard. And that was when I started making psychotic records.
And wearing kitten ears, because kitten ears is hard.
Yeah.
I go like, kitten ears, don't fuck with her.
Yeah. Trouble. But yeah, so then I made these crazy records, and then this guy Daryl Swan heard these records, which had elements of hip hop, but they were completely psychotic. I did 3 of those, and then he was like, all right, you want to make a real hip hop record? Let's do this. And so he sort of helped me create, that record that, is out right now. But I didn't get into hip hop really until 2015 because I felt like, look, so many people are rapping about hoes and hookers and money. It's like, that's kind of today's hip hop, at least. And even back in the day, like the Wu-Tang Clan and all that. So I felt like I had sort of the real life experience to get into hip hop. Whereas like if I try to get into hip hop, it would have to be like conscious rap or something if I hadn't, gone through all the pain that I'd gone through, like, which I guess, Talib Kweli does a lot of that conscious stuff, and it's still very, very hard and raw and beautiful. But yeah, I think when I started having sex for money is when I thought, I can rap now. I have like enough pain in my life to be able to rap. You know what I mean?
Right.
I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
I do have one last question. Is, in the time period you got out of the cult around 2022 or something, right? Does that sound right?
2022?
You got at the age of 20 or 22,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
So you had been, I think it's fair to say, like brainwashed and taken advantage of sexually with like power dynamics and whatnot.
Yeah.
What was sex and dating like for you in that time getting out of the cult and readjusting to, the rest of society?
I was really excited to have sex with guys like in their 20s because I hadn't done that. I'd only been with like a 43-year-old who I wasn't attracted to.
Or 7-year-olds when you were 7. There's like a real age swing.
Yeah. I think I was just really excited to kind of assimilate, but at the same time, I didn't know how to act. And I feel like I'm just now learning how to act with men.
Yeah. So
I just did a lot of stupid things and I didn't really quite value myself.
What were some of the stupid things?
I think I just didn't really value myself, and I was just completely enamored with boys that today I would be like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? I was very naive because I hadn't had any experience in the real world. I hadn't grown up. I hadn't, done things that I should have done in high school. So I think I acted, like maybe kids act in high school when I was in my 20s because I hadn't really grown up properly the way that most kids do and learn that stuff, from a younger age.
Yeah.
So I learned it late. I was a late bloomer all around. So,
and when did you feel, you say you're starting to get a handle of it now? Was there anything in particular or a particular experience where you're like, oh wow, I handled that like an adult person?
Yeah. Yeah. Like even just this week, this guy that I turned my crazy down and I kept the texts like a normal person instead of just saying every fucking thing that came into my head, and just was like, oh, he would appreciate less.
Yeah.
So how about I text a little bit less and then maybe I'll actually get to meet up with this person that I really like. And I did because I just kept it like, and I know now, don't reach out to somebody that you really like if you're depressed and sad, because that's not the energy that's going to get them around you. Like wait until like you're feeling good and you don't need them or not. And that's when you like reach out to somebody. My mom's been telling me this forever, but only recently it clicked, So yeah, things like that. It's just like that grown up type shit.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's great. Well, Hung or Cunt or Young or Tokyo, any of these. Hung Young Cunt Punch.
Yes.
No.
Thank you.
Where can people find you? I know the album Hyung Young Terrorist is on Spotify because that's where I listen to it, but where else can they find you in the world?
Okay, they can find me on Instagram and Twitter at I am Hyung Young, IAMHUNGYUNG. The album, you can peep it out on all platforms, and links to all the socials and stuff are at HungYoungTerrorist.com.
All right. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for chatting with me.
Thank you.
Crush it on your shows while
That
you're
was
here
so
in New
much
York.
fun.
And why don't you go ahead and say goodbye to everybody?
Goodbye, everybody. This is the Man Whore Podcast.
what a journey, what a ride, what an episode, everybody. Make sure you go follow our various peoples. All right, go follow Max Fine. He was hilarious. Okay, make sure you're following Hyung Terrorist. Right on, right on. And of course, you should be following me on all the places. Look, a lot of you think you're following me on Instagram, and I'm promising you that you're not, because I got my shit disabled quite a while ago. So remember, go to Instagram, follow me at Billy is Persida. You can also follow me on Twitter at the Billy Persida. If you search Billy Persida, I pop up. You'll know which one is me. You can also engage about this week's episode on the Man Whore Podcast Facebook fan page. Go over there, click like, give us a comment about what you thought about this week's show. If you want to send me something, a little longer, maybe you got a comment, maybe you got a question, maybe you got some boobies pictures, or maybe you just got a couch I can crash on as I pass through your town, you can send all that over to manwhorepod@gmail.com. Don't forget, everybody, we are going to cover my body in your names. If we hit 200 patrons as of December 25th, become a member today and see your name on my body at patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. That's Patreon, patreon.com/manwhorepodcast. Oh boy, everybody, the new year, it's coming up quick. Hope you're getting yourselves ready. And I think next week for Christmas, I'm going to read some of your 2019 sexual achievements, because a lot of y'all shared those on Instagram recently. So I think I might read some of those on air. Happy holidays, everybody. Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever religions are going on at this time. I hope they are wonderful and mildly peaceful with you and yours. Don't let mom sleeping in 2 doors down from you during the holidays stop you from getting yours. I don't care who's on the other side of that wall. I'm gonna stay slutty.